College football Heisman watch. Blake Corum, Adrian Martinez on the rise. Justin share Facebook, Twitter, Reddit link. The Heisman Trophy race continues to shift and evolve through Week 5 of the season. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud was fine on Saturday, though not quite as dominant as he has been up to this point. Meanwhile, two other contenders, Alabama's Bryce Young and Oklahoma's Dillon Gabriel, suffered injuries that introduced some uncertainty into their seasons. This has opened the door for other rising stars to get into the mix. See how the leading Heisman candidates heading into Week 5 fared Saturday. Note, players are ranked by Fox Bet odds entering Week 5. Stroud plus 150, bet $10 to win $25 total. Stroud has been consistently great throughout the season, as the Buckeyes have steamrolled the opposition on the way to a 5-0 start. The steamrolling continued on Saturday with a 49-10 rout of Rutgers, but Stroud was not at his finest. The junior star went 13 for -22 for 154 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, only his second of the season. Still, it's hard to see him taking much of a hit when his overall numbers are still great: 1,376 yards, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and Ohio State continues to look like one of the 3 best teams in the nation. Stroud hits Julian Fleming for TD. The Ohio State Buckeyes stretched their lead to 21-7 after C.J. Stroud connected with Julian Fleming on a touchdown pass against Rutgers. Next, at Michigan State on October 8, Alabama QB Bryce Young plus 350, bet $10 to win $45 total. Young, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, left Saturday's 49-26 victory over Arkansas early in the second quarter after spraining his shoulder. Alabama's Bryce Young exits game. Alabama Crimson Tide QB Bryce Young exited the game with an injury against the Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturday. The Tide led 14-0 at the time, but Young had not quite been his usual dynamic self, completing 7 of 13 passes for 173 yards, with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Freshman quarterback Jalen Milroe, a 4-star recruit out of Katy, Texas, was 4 for 9 for 65 yards and a touchdown in Young's absence. Alabama also got a big boost from running back Jahmyr Gibbs, who has been on this list in the past, who rushed for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 18 carries. Next, versus Texas A&M on October 8, USC QB Caleb Williams plus 600, bet $10 to win $70 total, faces Arizona State on Saturday. Next, versus Washington State on October 8, 4, Tennessee QB Hendon Hooker plus 1,600, bet $10 to win $170 total. The Volunteers were idle this week. Georgia QB Stetson Bennett plus 2,500, bet $10 to win $260 total, faces Missouri on Saturday. Next, versus Auburn on October 8, Michigan RB Blake Corum plus 4,000, bet $10 to win $410 total. The Wolverines' 27-14 victory over Iowa wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing game, not surprising when the rough-and-tumble Hawkeyes are involved. But Corum was his usual dominant self, rushing for 133 yards on 29 carries. His 20-yard touchdown run late in the final quarter iced the game. The junior has rushed for 611 yards and 10 touchdowns this season, as the Wolverines have started 5-0. Blake Corum ices the game. Blake Corum's nasty juke gave the Michigan Wolverines a crucial late touchdown to secure a win over the Iowa Hawkeyes. Next, at Indiana on October 8, Kansas State QB Adrian Martinez plus 4,000, bet $10 to win $410 total. A week after launching himself onto this list with a stunning performance in a victory over Oklahoma last week, Martinez was equally impressive in a victory over Texas Tech. The former Nebraska quarterback dominated with both his arm and legs, passing for 116 yards and a touchdown, while rushing for another 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. Next, at Iowa State on October 8, T6, Oklahoma QB Dillon Gabriel plus 4,000, bet $10 to win $410 total. Things have been pretty rough for the Sooners these past couple weeks. Coming off a loss to Kansas State, Oklahoma was beaten handily by TCU, 55-24. Gabriel was knocked out of the game in the second quarter on a nasty hit by Horned Frogs linebacker Jamoy Hodge and did not return. Hodge was ejected for targeting. Gabriel had not been particularly effective up to that point, however, completing just 7 of his 16 pass attempts for 126 yards and no touchdowns. He will be evaluated for a concussion. Next, versus Texas on October 8, T6, Wake Forest QB Sam Hartman plus 4,000, Bet $10 to win $410 total. Hartman made his season debut on our Heisman watch, and he was solid in leading the No. 22 Demon Deacons to a 31-21 victory over No. The junior QB was 22 for 34 for 234 yards and a pair of touchdowns, and he didn't throw any interceptions. Wake is now 4-1, with the loss coming to No. 5 Clemson in double overtime. Alabama LB Will Anderson Jr. plus 5,000. Bet $10 to win $510 total. It's tough for defensive players to get noticed in the Heisman Trophy race, and Anderson is a perfect example of that. The linebacker's odds have taken a hit of late, even though he continues to dominate. Against Arkansas on Saturday, Anderson racked up 7 tackles, including 1.5 tackles for loss, and registered half a sack for good measure. Next, versus Texas A&M on October 8.